Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of Gayside Stories, where the gay shit goes. I am your host, Trillificent. Thank you so much for joining me for another week. I want to start off by giving a special thank you to everyone who showed love for last week's episode on mental health. And I also want to give a huge thank you to my guest, Marcus, aka Twitless Ghost, not only for joining me, but for being willing to share his story on the podcast. It's not always easy to talk about the struggles you've had with mental illnesses, and I just really appreciated him coming through and us having that dope conversation. Also, I believe that today is his birthday. Today, recording on Sunday, so today is April 1st. So, happy birthday, Marcus, aka Twitless Ghost. Remember, you guys, to use the hashtag GaysidePod when you're live tweeting or posting about the show. I appreciate everyone that does that. And with all of the housekeeping out of the way, I am going to let this week's guest introduce himself.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Harold. I'm also known as Peanut, and I'm here as just a guest. I'm a fan of the show, and I'm just honored to be here.
Well, thank you for coming through.
Absolutely.
So, where does Peanut come from?
Well, it's so funny you should ask me that. Okay, no, it's cute. You know, my name has been Peanut since I was born. My mom started calling me that when I was a baby because she said that my head was shaped like the Charlie Brown characters, the Peanuts. So that's how I got my name, and it stuck with me, and now pretty much everybody calls me that. So.
Oh, okay. That is kind of cute. You know, a nickname with shady roots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it.
My mom is the original shade thrower, so yeah.
Well, you know, I feel like the 80s was just the time when the foundations of shade were built.
70s. Try 70s.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to be generous to you,
but thank you for making me like
that's
10
how
years
you want to go.
No, I'm keeping it real, man. I was born in 75. Yeah, I'm old school.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was gonna say 70s and 80s, but I'm not familiar with the 70s, so and I don't even mean that in a shady way. I'm just not.
It's all good.
Yeah, my nickname when I was a baby was Pretty Black. And when my father told me that, I looked at him like, "Are you stupid?" But, you know, whatever.
I can see that. Pretty black.
Listen, because I was a black-ass baby, you know? Like, because, you know, like some dark-skinned people, they don't come out dark. No, I came out dark, all right? I definitely came out charcoal. But it's fine, because, you know, melanin or whatever the young kids say.
Melanin is a beautiful thing.
It is. Speaking of beautiful things, let's move on. Let's get the show started. So first up is the School and Life segment, and I feel like guests should go first.
Okay, School and Life. What got me through this past week?
Yeah.
My therapist.
Oh, word. Shout out.
Yes, my family, and my friends, my good friends, my best friends. They got me through a lot. It was a crazy week, and all of them got me through it. So shout outs to all of them.
You know what? And shout out to you, because I was actually about to be like, I don't have a School of Life for this week.
Really?
But you just said something that reminded me or made me realize I do have one. So my School of Life for this week is my friends, same as you. It's a shout out to Candace and Jeremy from the Ratchet Ramblings podcast.
I love them.
Okay, so if any of you listen to that show, you guys know that I make, an appearance about once a month, or really kind of whenever I feel like it. So I've been overdue. So this week we actually recorded yesterday, Saturday, and I had been looking forward to it, even though I was trash and I didn't watch the shows I was supposed to watch in advance. But I did kind of catch up. I kind of winged it on one show, but it was okay. I made it up as we went along. But I did watch Real Housewives and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So that new episode should be coming out. It should be dropping the same time as this episode. So
I can't wait to hear it.
You guys go and look for that. I will be on there. So if you just fuck with me, then I'll be on there. You'll hear me. And you guys, like I said, if any of you have listened to that show before, you know that it's a whole different format. So I say a lot of crazy stuff on there that I would not say on this show just because it's not the right format. Yeah. So we had a lot of fun. And then after we talked on Hangouts for hours, like we were up until the wee hours of the morning, just I guess because we hadn't actually talked in a while. We have the group chat going all the time, but we hadn't actually talked. So it was dope talking to my friends and laughing. Apparently I was on one, but I was like, I'm just being normal. But wow. I feel like it was a witch hunt. And I remember, like, as we were recording, they kept saying my name as if I was like really saying stuff off the wall. And I'm like, I mean, but am I lying? Are lies being told? And they're like, that's not the point. That is actually the exact point. Thank you so much. So that's my schooling life. Shout out to them. I can't wait for that episode to drop so I can listen back to it. I love Ratchet Ramblings. I love Jeremy and Candace. And shout out to the group chat, because the group chat be lit also too and as well.
Yeah, you got me into Ratchet Ramblings. I got familiar with them from when you interviewed them on your show, and Candace is, both of them are, but Candace is something else. Yeah, man. She's fire. I love her.
Candace is my sis in dragging and shade. You know, usually I love being on there because when me and Candace get started, it's just it's a lot, you know. So look out for that, and you know, of course, I'll be tweeting that from the show page and from my personal Twitter, so you guys will see it.
That's what's up.
And let's move on to the come quick. I have a little bit of things to come on, y'all.
I'm gonna come, sir.
Oh yeah.
So first up, March 31st, which was this past Saturday, was the Trans Day of Visibility. And I just want to say, you know, give a shout out to all of the trans people out there that are living in their truth and living in their experience, because it is difficult. Number one, I feel like to even admit it, to go through it, and to live it, because we know how the world treats trans people, especially trans women of color, especially black trans women.
And even in our own community,
that's why I said the world, because it's everybody, even in our own community. You know, heterosexual people, conservative, all kinds. They get it from every conceivable angle. So just we send love, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of my trans friends, Lyric, who's been on the show, who hopefully I can get to be on the show again. Bianca from Crown and Collards. Who else? Dion, who should be on the show sometime in the near future. Can't wait for that. Just, you know, all of the trans, mostly women. I don't think I know any trans men, but if y'all are out there and y'all trying to be on the show, you know, holla at me. Anyway, so with that being said, there was a picture that I posted that had some tips for trans people in or around your life, and I just want to read those off real quick for anybody who may be unfamiliar, because just because you're in the community, that doesn't mean that you don't need a reminder of how to handle trans people and people outside of the community. Y'all asses definitely need to listen up. So first, do not out people as trans without the trans person's express consent. That should be common sense, but sometimes, oftentimes, people are not operating with any gram of common sense. So do not out trans people unless you have their permission. Next up, if you don't know what pronouns to use, ask. It is literally that simple. Don't make stuff up. Don't say he, she, a lot of stuff. And a lot of these things are behaviors sometimes that we have to unlearn. Some of those things I had to unlearn. But be willing to learn. And
she is never cool to say to anybody. I mean,
yeah,
that sucks. I mean, you should know better than that.
Exactly. So next up, educate yourself about trans people and listen to trans individuals. And that one is very important because a lot of times, and I feel like I've talked about this on the show before, people will have these conversations about trans people and like, well, how was I supposed to know? The information is available. Just like anything else. If you don't know where the closest Red Lobster is, what do? You get on the internet and you look.
Right.
You ask Sister Mary Google and sis will tell you where the nearest Red Lobster is. So if you don't know things about trans people, guess what? Sister Mary Google is still a resource. The internet is still a resource. You don't have to stay ignorant and be like, well, nobody ever told me. That's not an excuse. The information is freely available. It's not under lock and key. You don't have to fight a dragon to find out about trans people. Like, let's be honest. Educate yourself. Don't always sit back and sit on your ignorance and wait for someone to educate you.
Exactly.
Especially about the basics. Now, some things, when you start getting into the specifics and nuances, you might need to actually talk to a trans person. That's fine. But again, the use of pronouns and just basic things, educate yourself. Especially before you get to talking reckless. Next it says, respect the terminology a transgender person uses to describe their identity. And this one should be easy, I feel like, to understand, because if you tell someone, this is what I want you to call me, this is my name, you expect someone to honor that. So give trans people that same honor. And if they tell you how they want to be addressed and what their identity is, use the terminology that they specify. It's literally that simple. You don't have to be an asshole about it. Next, respect the lived experiences of trans people. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it's one of those things in case people don't know what that means, or at least my interpretation of it. If a trans person says this is what happens to me in life, it's not up to you to say no, it's not, or prove it, or anything like that. If a trans people say my life is in danger every day, every time I walk out of the door, then respect that and believe them. It's not up to you to say anything otherwise. And lastly, be an ally. And I'm just going to leave that one up in the air because the word ally means something different to pretty much everyone. So I will say, matter of fact, I will modify it and I will say, be the best version of what you think an ally is. And if you don't know, that good old sis, Google, she is an everlasting friend and confidant. She will not steer you wrong unless you start getting into page like 3 and 4 of the results, and then it gets kind of sketchy. But just, you guys, it's not that difficult. Like, trans people are living their lives. It literally does not affect you. It doesn't affect your job, doesn't affect your car, doesn't affect the gas you put in it. Literally does not affect you. Let these people live their lives and give them the respect that they deserve. They're people just like you.
Exactly.
And that especially goes for people in the LGBT community, because there's nothing worse than a gay that is transphobic. I don't know how that even happens, but you know what? It's not surprising because they're gays that are homophobic. So
yes,
it makes sense that, I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I know that it happens. So just a reminder in honor of the Trans Day of Visibility that just passed. So next up, I did a Twitter poll. Y'all know how I do. This one is not nasty. It's normal, or, whatever. So I asked, do you think you've already met your soulmate? The answers were yes, no, and I don't believe in that. So, with a whopping 54%, the answer yes. With 34% no, and 12% said I don't believe in that. So, before I tell a little bit about this, what is your answer?
You know what? I missed that poll, but I looked it over, and to be honest, I don't think that I've met my soulmate. I believe in that, but I don't think that I've met my soulmate yet.
Okay, so someone answered the poll and they said, I feel like I've met my platonic soulmates basically, but not my, soulmate doesn't necessarily mean romantic. And I responded that I said I didn't make any specifications. I just said soulmate. But I agree with that. I don't think your soulmate is limited to romantic ties. I think a lot of people's soulmates are just friends, platonic. You know what I mean? I don't think it's reserved for your romantic partner. I guess if it was your romantic partner, that would be ideal, maybe. And I think a good example of that, think about all of the movies, the rom-coms that come out where the main character has like this intense connection with their friend. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what's a good example? The movie Bridesmaids.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
think about the relationship between Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig's characters. And then when Maya Rudolph was getting married, how that
Kristen Wiig's, that was Cock Baby, right? Cake Baby.
Cake Baby.
The one who had the catering thing with the cakes, and then they spray painted. Yeah, and then they called it Cock Baby. Yeah.
I was at the beginning of the movie. I forgot all about that part. But yeah, I mean, I just use that as an example. And there's tons of movies like that, tons of examples where it's like a friendship where I see more of a soulmate connection. But that doesn't mean you can't have other friendships. It doesn't mean you can't have a romantic partner. It's just,
Right.
It doesn't even mean that you can't have more than one soulmate. I just posed the question and people kind of made their own interpretations on there. But I absolutely don't agree that a soulmate is strictly romantic.
Well, since you put it that way, then I probably have met my soulmate, because I've always thought of a soulmate as a romantic type thing. But I have met friends, good friends that I connect with, and they've been there through thick and thin and unconditionally. So and we're in tune with each other. Right.
Indeed.
So then I have to change my answer to yes. I mean, if it extends to friendship, then yes.
There you go. I mean, it's whatever you make it. I'm just saying, I think that's a limit that doesn't need to be there. But if you choose to limit it to romantic, well, good luck and more power to you.
Right.
Last but not least, Chloe and Haley's album. I didn't talk about it last week when it came out, but their album, The Kids Are Alright, is fantastic. Like, those heifers can sing. And the album is good. It's not everybody's cup of tea because it's a little folksy, it's a little R&B, it's a little pop, it's a little some of everything, a little blues, but just the vocals there, like I said this on Twitter this morning. I said they definitely graduated from the Beyonce school of layering vocals.
Oh wow.
Like, they layer those vocals, those girls sing. And the one sister, Chloe, that sings in the lower register is like a mini Beyonce sometimes. Like, sometimes you can just really hear the influence, but at the same time, sometimes you can hear it in Haley too. So I was listening to the album this morning when I was at the grocery store, and I was like, "Ooh, these heifers can sing." Yes, God.
I'm going to have to take your recommendation on that, because I've never heard of them, so I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, they are Beyonce's proteges, and they've been doing their thing for a while. They're on Grownish, and they finally released their album. I think they released like an EP or a mixtape before, but I didn't listen to that. I meant to, and then shit happened. but the album is really good. It's long. I mean, it's 18 tracks and it's less than an hour, but I think compared
18.
Right, but
wow.
the songs, not all of the songs are very long. Okay. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but it's like 53 minutes runtime. But I think just a lot of the albums that have been coming out that we've been jamming to have been really short, like 8 tracks. So then you see something with 18, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, bitch. But this one, like, I was listening to it, and it just, it flows so well that you don't realize that it's 18 tracks.
Wow.
At least I didn't. So, but again, I saw a lot of people like, I know they can sing and I enjoy their voices, but the music wasn't for me, or this album wasn't for me, and that's fair. But I love it. So
I'm gonna check them out.
I just had to shout that out because I listened to it this morning, and I was like, ooh wee. Yes. Okay, so with that being said, that wraps up the Come Quick segment, and we are going to get into the main topic. So, we're going to be talking about top privilege.
Yes.
I saw this article hit the timeline maybe last week or the week before, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting because you know how the conversations go, and it's top should do this, bottom should do this, verse, should do this, and then a lot of people are like, oh, verse, whatever. So I thought this would be a really interesting conversation to have. So the article was written by Rembrandt Duran. It came out on March 21st. I saw it on Gaystar News. The link will be in the show notes. And the top tag says, "Stop bottom shaming and placing tops on pedestals."
Please.
Which, I mean, true. Because these tops are not that damn great to be on nobody's pedestal. At all.
At all.
So we'll get into it. It's broken down into a couple of different topics. So first up is STI risk. So the article says, the risk of contracting HIV and other STIs is significantly lower for tops, and that's according to the Center for Disease Control in the U.S. The editor's note says risk varies greatly according to viral load, but the CDC gives an average of it being 13 times riskier for bottoms than tops. So in my limited knowledge, and I could be wrong, so please let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe that a big reason for that is because the anal skin is so thin, and that's what makes you more susceptible to STIs when you're a bottom.
Yeah, and then there's the tearing and sometimes bleeding and all that type of stuff. And then, the exchange of body fluids and all that.
Yeah. I mean, tearing and bleeding, that makes it even riskier, more than 13 times riskier. But I think even if you just have a regular experience, just from that skin being so thin.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with this.
That a lot of tops, they like to, stroke their ego, no pun intended, and they try to beat it up, and they, try to, like just hammer your ass. And I'm like, okay. But I think that's where a lot of the tearing comes in, to where they're not being gentle with you, and they're trying to prove their manhood, quote unquote. But
that's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's not my ministry. So, but I do agree that this is a privilege for tops, because just the simple act of top bottom sex, you automatically don't have as high of a risk of contracting STIs.
Right. Just
from the way that the act works and the organs that are involved. So I definitely agree that this is a privilege for tops, and it's one that should be acknowledged. Bottoms go through a lot, and just by bending over for you, they are automatically 13 times higher risk for catching something.
Right.
And Lord forbid if you actually have something. Anyway.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole different show. You're right. Absolutely. So the next subtopic is trust. And the article says, when a bottom isn't on PrEP, which you guys, if you don't know what PrEP is, it's an HIV preventative drug. A certain amount of responsibility and trust is placed with the top to not do things like remove the condom mid-sex and to be alert to any potential breaks in the prophylactic. Stealthing, quote unquote, is when your partner removes their condom during intercourse without telling you, opting for their personal pleasure over your safety. So this is an important point, but I don't see this really as a privilege for tops, because trust goes both ways.
True. Very true.
And it's not just I'm a bottom, so I'm trusting you to be responsible and not give me something. Well, the top is doing the same thing, even though the bottom is at a higher risk.
At a higher risk.
That doesn't mean that as a bottom you can't give something to somebody. Because, you know, STIs, a lot of people feel like they are limited to your dick, and that's not the truth. You know, again, education.
Yes.
However, the responsibility to not be a fuckboy and remove condoms during sex, I know that's a thing.
It's just a huge thing.
I didn't realize that it was a huge thing. Like I've heard of it, but I've not heard of it being a huge problem.
Oh, I've had it happen to me a couple of times. So
wow.
Yeah. It's a thing, and they do that. So yeah,
that is fucked up.
Yeah, there's some fuckboy shit.
I can't even imagine being like, okay, I'm gonna slip the condom off mid-stroke. Like what?
It's because you are so into the moment, and you know they thinking that they can pull that shit on you, and then you know they try it. I've had a couple of people try that with me. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
Well, to my knowledge, I've never had that happen to me. I would. Listen. All I see myself is I'm on all fours, and I somehow become aware of that shit, and I do a Chuck Norris roll, and my foot is connecting with face. Because how dare you? That is so disrespectful.
It is.
And so fucked up. Especially with gays, because we hook up willy-nilly. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No.
But we hook up, and it's like, if we're gonna be safe, like why would you put me at that risk? Because a lot of people don't even get checked for STIs and STDs.
True. Or they already know that they have something or whatever, and they just, like you said, they only looking out for themselves.
Right. It says it in the article. They're opting for their personal pleasure over your safety.
Right.
In which case, I believe that stabbing them should be allowed. Like, you put my health in jeopardy just because you don't like condoms. No, I feel like I should be able. You stabbed me with your dick, I should be able to stab you with an object of my choosing. But I feel like that's how
where
that should work.
Self-esteem comes into play. I mean, it's like, you know, it's up to the bottom to protect themselves. I mean, you know, when somebody you can hear them taking the fucking condom off. So,
well,
you know,
I mean, but like
it's
you
like,
said,
what do you think of yourself? I mean, are you going to stop him, or are you going to just let him do what it is just to please him, or, you know, just. I mean, that's where self-esteem comes into play. You have to have a higher self-esteem about yourself to stop him and say, whoa, this is raw. I know what you're doing.
Right. Like, if you wanted raw sex, you could have just said that, boo-boo.
Yeah, because a lot of people are with that.
A lot of people are with that. But then, you know what, that's a whole different topic. That's a tangent that we don't need to go on.
Yes.
I will say, though, that in a perfect world, I think that it may be limited to self-esteem and not letting it happen when you know it's happening. But I can think of a lot of scenarios where you just wouldn't know, you know, because you have to think about it. It's not necessarily them ripping it off like they do in the porno so you can hear it. They might just real casually pull it off slowly. You're not going to hear anything.
True. And there are certain condoms that don't. that
don't
like,
make they don't make all that rubber band noise and all that.
And
they
don't feel
noise.
like they don't feel like it can feel like raw sex, but they're really wearing. I don't know the type of condom. I don't remember.
There's
the name
different
of it,
kinds, but I just I just don't want that to be put out there as like, okay, well, if it happens to you, then that was kind of your fault because you didn't have enough self-esteem.
No, never.
It could be a multitude. I mean, y'all can have music playing or the TV loud, somebody's abuela don't hear you, and then you don't hear the dude taking the condom off. There's a lot of different scenarios.
That's true.
And I mean, the sad thing is, you would hope and you would think that there's a level of trust, but you have to have that extra layer of diligence to make sure and be like,
stop and check, reach behind and feel the condom, and make sure it's still on. Gotta
change positions and shit. Make sure this nigga ain't trying to hide his dick because he done took. It's gay sex is so much work. Like shout out to XD on Twitter because he says that all the time. It's so much work. It's so much more, and it's so much more than just fleeting. Because you got to worry about shit like this. You know? But it's the same for women. Because now I have seen on the timeline on Twitter a lot. This has come up about men taking condoms off while they having sex with. Like, they make jokes about that shit all the time. And I always say this a lot. Comedy jokes are usually laden in truth.
Right.
So watch the people who make one too many jokes about slipping the condom off during sex, because that shit is gross. It's a gross violation. It may even be illegal. So check on that wherever you live, because it may be illegal.
Depending on what state you live in, absolutely.
Right, that's what I say. You got to check. Okay, so next up, the next sub-topic is social privileges. The article says this. There are still many people who see bottoms promiscuity as something more shameful, dirty, or slutty, quote unquote, than that of tops.
Right.
There seems to be different reasons people, quote unquote, bottom shame, and truthfully, all of them are dumb as hell. There is a false sentiment that bottoms who engage in high levels of sexual activity or with many partners have, quote unquote, loose holes, which is simply untrue. If you are having anal sex and taking your time, using lube and using the right lube, let me change what it says in the article. Using the right lube and making sure everything is done at a proper pace, the asshole will remain tight.
Apple cider vinegar also helps.
Oh my. Okay. How does that, like, what do? Do you just like...
You put it in your fleet water.
Oh my.
A little bit, not too much. Please do not fleet with a full thing of apple cider vinegar that will burn your asshole. You just put a little bit in your fleet water and it'll, tighten your muscles a little bit.
Lord have mercy.
Did I leave you speechless?
No, I had to sneeze.
Okay.
I was gonna say you're gonna have people out here smelling like Greek salad, but
no, just don't use too much. You just use a little bit, not too much.
Listen, y'all gonna be out here with a spicy booty. Oh, good luck, everybody. My word. Anyway, so I guess fleet with the apple cider vinegar to make it tight, and then put some vanilla extract.
Do
to
not
make it sweet.
Put vanilla extract. We are not making candy yams.
I've seen it on time. Like that's a little tip. People have talked about that. And
no, be like, Trill is bullshitting with y'all.
I didn't say that's my tip. I just
don't put vanilla extract in your fleet water.
Hey. Like I said, good luck, everybody. So, the way that this is presented is not totally a privilege, but there is a privilege here in that, and it's kind of the same privilege as heterosexual world, where a man can have sex with as many women as he wants, and nobody bats an eye, but a woman has a body count of 3, and she's all kinds of hoes and whores and all that kind of stuff. And I have seen this in the gay community where it's like, okay, I guess because whoever is the receptacle, which that's kind of too clinical of a word, but whatever, I'm gonna go with it. Whoever is the receptacle is seen as slutty or whatever if they have too many partners. It's that, have you ever seen that dumbass comparison where they're like, a lock that can be unlocked by a bunch of keys is worthless, but you can have a master key that opens many locks?
Yeah.
First of all, that is dumb as hell. I don't know why I don't know why you would be comparing genitals to keys and locks.
They're very ignorant.
Second of all, a lot of people who, let me phrase this correctly, a lot of promiscuous tops, they be the main ones with STIs, STDs.
Right.
And I don't understand why that falls on the bottom. Like, you ain't supposed to let a whole bunch of people fuck you. Why not?
You can do whatever the fuck
you can do whatever you want.
Body,
just like you do whatever you want with your dick.
Bathe, just take a bath afterwards and fleet and just keep yourself clean. I mean, and you can do whatever. It's your body. You do what you want with it. Fuck what everybody else has to say about it.
I agree. I don't know where that comes from.
And it's the double standard, like you said before. Yeah. It's with heterosexuals and females can't have sex with a bunch of men, and bottoms can't have sex with a bunch of men either. And then they get, shamed on how loose they are and, whatever. But, you have to say, fuck what people think. You just have to live your life and do what you want to do with your own body. You make the choice. It's your choice.
Absolutely. So I think it's rooted in the thought that the person that's receiving, whether it's the bottom or a woman, the thought that sex is not for their pleasure.
Right.
So if you don't think that a woman should have pleasure during, or that's not a thought that you have, or that a bottom is having sex for pleasure, then it's easy for you to say, well, if you having a bunch of sex, you must be a hoe because you're not supposed to be enjoying it. I feel like that is one. I mean, psychologically, who knows all of the different origins of this thought process, but I definitely think that that's one. Like, I see that with heterosexual relationships all the time. It's like, you think they're a hoe because you feel like they are for your gender's pleasure. So if they doing it a lot, if they actually are getting pleasure out of it, they must be some kind of hoe, because a regular woman, a regular bottom would not be getting pleasure out of this, and they wouldn't be doing it a lot. And I'm just like, first of all, nobody has time for a selfish lover. And I feel like if you feel that as the top or as the man, if you're heterosexual, if you feel like the sex is for your pleasure solely, then you're a selfish lover. And that shit is whack. Get the fuck out of here with that. Sex should be for everybody's pleasure. Otherwise, why are you doing it? And in my experience, my limited experience, because, when everybody is in it to win it, so to speak, it's better. Like it's just better. See that.
Yeah.
Inhibitions start slipping away when everybody's enjoying themselves, and it's lit. So, social privileges. Okay, the last point in the article, anyway, paint shaming.
Oh. God.
This is going to be controversial. I just know.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
I won't speak my mind on this because this is a huge thing. So, yes.
So the article says, for those of you who don't know what quote-unquote painting is in this context, it's a slang term to describe when a bottom isn't fully cleaned out and a little something is left on the top's penis. And in layman's terms, that means you shit on the dick.
Shit happens.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So the person who wrote the article, Rembrandt Duran, says, "Now, I personally think bottoms are made to editing mistake. Bottoms are made to uphold, because it doesn't say uphold, completely ridiculous standards, not only dietary wise, but also supplementary. I've seen threads upon threads of tweets and Facebook statuses about what bottoms can do to make sure they have pristine anuses for their tops. I understand that most bottoms do this to feel less worried, more prepared, and cleaner. But as tops, we have to stop demanding such perfection from bottoms. We must be more understanding if something goes wrong and recognize how much labor and time bottoms put into their bodies, specifically their buttholes." So go ahead and speak your mind. And
okay, my opinion on this. Look,
dun, dun, dun.
You're going into somebody's fucking asshole. Okay, it doesn't matter how much cleaning they do. You know what I'm saying? They can clean all day, they can fast and do all kind of whatever, but you are fucking somebody in their ass. So if you get a little bit of paint on your dick, handle it like a man. Go wash it off. Ask them where's their towels and their soap and their hot water and all that. Go clean that shit off. I mean, don't shame the motherfucker. I mean, we all know, you know what I'm saying, if somebody is like being an asshole and they just didn't clean themselves. Because there are some people who don't give a shit. There are some, no pun intended. No pun intended. But there are some people who don't care and they will just let you fuck them no matter what they ate. You know what I'm saying? But there are bottoms out there like that. But, you know, be mature about it. Be a man about it. I mean, if you fuck a guy and you are fully painted, then yeah, he was an asshole and he didn't think enough of himself or you to clean himself. And he needs to be reprimanded for that. But, you know, if you get just a little bit on you, you know, it is what it is. You fucking a guy in his ass. That's his ass. If you get a corn nugget on your dick.
What? Oh, Jesus.
Then go take a fucking shower afterwards. Ask him where his soap and hot water is. Because it is what it is.
That was a little too specific.
Well, I mean, we've all been to Williams Chicken and we've had the corn nuggets, just go take a fucking shower, man. I mean, you know what shit looks like. You know what it smells like. And you fucking some guy in his ass. I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later. So don't shame him unless he's being a bitch and he just didn't clean himself. That happens. But, just go handle your business. Go take a fucking shower, man. I mean, you're going to have to do that anyway.
Hopefully. So, a couple of things. First and foremost, true about what you said.
Yes.
Secondly, I want to put this out here. It's been said before. I'm just reiterating. As a top, you cannot expect spontaneous sex and not be prepared for painting to happen. It just is what it is.
Right.
Thirdly, I agree with what was said in the article. I don't necessarily see how this is a privilege, but not a top privilege anyway. However, I do believe that the privilege comes from, as a top, feeling like you can demand pristine cleanliness from a bottom. You know, now hopefully most bottoms are out here doing their best, but as you said, shit happens.
Right.
And the other thing that I want people to be mindful of is, in the fleeting process If one is a little too gung ho, or if one, how do I put this? Needs maybe an extra rinse cycle or 3. you can irritate, your anus.
Yes, you can.
And that makes for a not so fun experience, and then we start getting into that creaming shit.
Oh God.
And I don't even we're not doing that on this episode.
Another show, another topic.
But I'm just saying that as a top, or as a verse top, or as a verse that tops, be mindful of that. Like and as a bottom, like because a lot of bottoms I don't think even realize, like, fleeting too much. There are so many things that can irritate your back door, but as a top, that's something to be mindful of. Like, bottoms go through a lot so that you can stick your dick into them.
Yes, we do.
All right. And the least you can do is be understanding if something goes awry.
Right.
Now, if it's like explosive diarrhea, that's different. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but yeah, I mean,
I'm
explosive
just saying,
diarrhea is a point to where
that's different, because
don't want to hook up. You know when you have explosive
that's
diarrhea.
Something where it's like, okay, if you knew your damn bowels sounded like a marching band, then you should have canceled the appointment. Like, it's not that important. That's on the bottom. But if it's just, a little bit, then
go take a fucking shower.
Because
be a man.
At the end, beginning, and middle of the day, the anus is not made for sex. That is not its function. Its function,
true.
As a reminder for any tops out there, any heterosexual people who may have questions about how gay sex works, heterosexuals who have anal sex themselves, a reminder: the anus and that whole system is meant to expel waste. And that is what the brown stuff is. It is waste.
Oh God, yeah, you're right. But okay.
You gotta. Listen,
but by all means, please clean your ass as much as you can.
Clean
please.
it as much as possible. Don't be out here. Don't be trifling. Unless you part of that sect of people who like that.
And there are some people who are into that. Yes, there are some people who are into. Yeah.
Keep it away from me.
To each his own.
But that's fine.
I'm not into it. Right.
Like, I'm not into smells. I'm not into waste.
I'm not into that either.
I'm not into mustiness. I'm not none of those are on this Easter Sunday, I tell you, none of those are my ministry. However, if it is your ministry, hallelujah.
And I am in 100% agreement with Trill on this. Please, do you by all means, but
don't just be out here trifling. You know what I'm saying?
Just clean your ass as much as you can. But do your best.
Also, don't shame your bottom. And I also feel like an element of that is that because hookup culture is so prevalent in the gay community, that it's like I can shame him for not being clean or whatever, because this is just a hookup. I probably will never see him again. I'm gonna block him on Jack'd, and that's just gonna be what it is. And I can get in the group chat with my friends and be like, "This nigga painted me." You know what I mean? But if you have an actual connection with someone, I don't think that shaming
everybody
would be as prevalent.
Has painted someone at one point. Whether they want to admit it or not, they have. You don't think? Okay,
we gonna move on. This is not about me, so.
No, okay, I'm not gonna go into that.
It ain't about me. So that's pretty much the gist of the article. As I said, some of these points I agree with being top privileges, and some of this I don't necessarily expressly consider them a top privilege. Is more of a don't shame bottoms, and I don't think those are the same. Like a shame for a bottom is not necessarily a privilege for a top.
Can I stop you for a second? Because I remember what I wanted to say earlier.
Okay.
Do not hit us up randomly wanting to come fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because we may have been to Jack in the Box or Whataburger or Church's, whatever, Chipotle, whatever. Don't hit us up randomly expecting to come dick us down because we may have just eaten.
Well,
you know
I mean, but that goes back to what I said before. Like, if you are a top or whatever, a top adjacent that expects spontaneous sex,
they don't
care.
They expect us to be ready when they are ready, and it doesn't work that way. We're not women.
I agree, but however, I feel like that to a certain extent is a shared responsibility, because I feel like if more bottoms and bottom adjacents were out here being like, "No, you can't come through. I'm not trying to take no dick because I just took a burrito," then that would not be as prevalent of an issue. So it's kind of,
but it's better
not
to warn them beforehand, right?
Yeah,
to let them know what they're in for.
So listen, I mean, I'm trying to get some dick, but at the same time,
I just went to Chipotle.
My poop shoot is doing the cha-cha slide, so you got to be. What are we talking about? Are you ready for are you willing to accept the risk? You got to text them niggas back and be like, I just had Taco Cabana. You know what I'm saying? Do you accept the challenge or not? This message will explode in 5 seconds. And maybe my bowels will too. Who knows?
Oh my God.
So that is the article. However, as I said, I didn't pull a lot of privileges out of it. So I came up with a few privileges, things that I was expecting to see in the article. So stay with me.
Okay.
So these are quote unquote privileges. So the first one was getting away with shitty behavior. I feel like a lot of tops revel in this privilege because, let's just call a spade. Tops get away with a lot of shit.
Right.
And you can look in gay Twitter, you can look on gay programming, like tops be out here wilding the fuck out, just like straight men.
True.
So I definitely thought that was kind of a privilege for them. The next one, a privilege was expecting their bottoms to operate like a wife. Like, I'm the top, so you need to be cooking and cleaning and make me a sandwich after we get done smashing and all this other stuff. And it's like, I just met you and Jack like an hour ago. Get out of my house. Get out of my Caucasian home. So that's a privilege, I think. The next one, having bottoms fight over them. And that actually goes in conjunction with the next one. But I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. Bottoms fighting over a top. Like, that's my man. Lame. That's my dick. And the next one is like, no, that's my dick. And then the next thing you know, you see the fight video on Twitter and Instagram. And it's like, are y'all really fighting over one piece?
Dick. Right.
However, the next one,
he ain't paying no attention to neither one of y'all. He just wants to nut.
He's probably reveling in the fact that, he got people fighting over him. But it goes into the next point that I had. And that is that I believe tops have the privilege of, or have the ability to take advantage of the belief that there's a shortage of tops. And I feel like that's perpetuated a lot. And I've said this, if I've not said this on the show before, then I'm saying it now. But if I've said it before, I'm reiterating. I feel like that's a misconception, because you have to ask yourself, is it really a shortage of tops? Or is it a shortage of tops that I would fuck? Because those are two different things. Deep. And I think a lot of people don't make that connection. There not being a lot of tops that you want to fuck in your area does not necessarily mean that there's a shortage of tops. Because you got to think about it. What's your criteria for a top? Does their dick have to be a certain size?
No.
Does do they have to look a certain way in the face? Does their body have to look a certain way? Do they have to be a quote unquote total top? Can they not be versed? Can they not have ever tried to take dick? Like, there's a lot of criteria that bottoms put on their tops. So you have to ask yourself, is it really a shortage of tops?
Well, can I answer some of those questions?
No, that's not the purpose. Those are examples.
Okay,
we don't need to go down the list. I'm just saying that a lot of times we in the gay community, we don't think about our own criteria before we put this generalization out there in the atmosphere.
Very true.
So just ask yourself, is it really a shortage of tops, or is it a shortage of tops that I would like to fuck me? Two different things. And the last privilege I came up with was, which, could be a privilege, could not be, but it's not having to watch their diet. Like, I've never heard of a top being like, well, I can't have Chipotle today because I'm trying to bust a nut.
Right.
Because hopefully, you can hold it and you're not going to splitter and splatter mid-stroke. I don't know.
Yeah, because when we're going down on you guys, we can smell when you guys take a shit and y'all don't wipe your ass or whatever.
As a top, please still take a shower before you fuck.
Please. Please.
Even if y'all are into that musty stuff, like shitty boo-boo is not the same as anyway, you know what? None of that is my business.
That's not my thing.
But I'm just saying, as you just said, the anus.
Take a shower. Take a fucking shower.
Okay, let's have a quick biology lesson. The anus is very close to the nutsack. So when someone is down there pleasuring you and you've done a piss poor job
of cleaning your ass, wiping your ass,
we can smell that.
Yeah.
You are disgusting, and you probably deserve to be busted upside the head because you a grown ass fucking man, my dude. No reason why you should be going around with the stench of doo doo and expecting to get your dick sucked, acting like ain't nobody gonna smell that. You probably smell it with your trifling ass. You just killed
my erection, by the way.
You should not have one anyway, so I done my duty. I'm just saying. So, if you guys have any thoughts about top privileges that we did not talk about on the show, feel free to tweet us. I would be very interested, or leave comments on SoundCloud. However you want to get your message across. I'm very curious if there's anything that I may have left out that you consider a privilege for tops. As a top and as a non-top, whatever you identify as. So,
I learned something today.
What did you learn?
That you like both.
I've talked about being versed on the show before.
Oh my! I missed those episodes.
I mean, I don't practice what I preach, but I walk in my truth.
Okay, well, shit, me too.
So that wraps up the main topic for the show. So we are going to close out the show with my favorite segment, and that is the Queer Query.
Question.
I get a lot of joy out of asking random questions to my guests and just letting everybody get an idea of how their mind works. Just a small glimpse. So this Queer Query is a little
racy.
It's a smidge, like a dash. Not really too much, but I felt like it kind of went with the theme of the show.
Okay.
But maybe not really. I don't know. Anyway, so the first question is, pick a celebrity or Instagram personality, quote unquote, to bottom 4 and pick one to top 4. Who are they?
Am I going first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
guess first.
It's going to be a little bit tricky because I am versed, and these people I would do both for. So I don't know his real name, but on Instagram his name is No, I'm Not a Celebrity.
Okay, yeah, I know who that is. I follow
Yeah,
him.
he's hot. Oh my God, his
He has
ass is fire.
he has excellent thighs.
Yes, in his ass.
I
Oh my
aspire for
God.
my thighs to look like that.
I
One
just
day
want
when I
him
stop
to sit
being
on
lazy.
my face. I want him to sit on my face.
Oh my.
But yeah,
so which one?
Would I top for him or bottom for him? Damn, because I want to do both. So, okay, I would top for him because his ass is just fire. And I just want to bury my face in his ass.
Okay.
And
oh my.
as far as top, I'm going to have to get... Oh, God. It's hard because... I want to say John Legend, but I want to eat John Legend's ass too.
I mean, you can eat John Legend's ass and let him
top. Okay.
Yeah. Look, that's the problem with you gays. Y'all got too many rules on what goes on in the bedroom.
Well, it's just a thing. I mean, a lot of tops won't let you eat their ass. So, but John Legend, his ass is legendary. No pun intended. What I do to John Legend. Okay. Next question.
So, let me answer first.
Okay, you go for it.
So, who would I bottom for? And, yeah. So, I picked Trayvonte Rhodes or The Rock. It just depends on the day.
I love The Rock.
It depends on the day, because I feel like Trayvonte would be sensual. And
to top 4 or bottom 4?
To bottom 4.
Okay.
You know, I feel like he would be sensual, but at the same time, he knows how to beat it up. And I feel like The Rock is just strong. So if I just want to be manhandled, it depends on how I feel that day. It depends on what I've eaten also. No. Who would I top? It's funny that you mentioned John Legend because he was on my list. So let me go back and say with this question, like there's a long list. So I just randomly plucked people for this, but these are not like the top. You know, it's not in any particular order. It's a very long list for all of these things. Theoretically, because y'all know I'm a non-practicing gay. But theoretically, so I would bottom for Trayvonte Rhodes or The Rock, and/or I would top John Legend, and there's two Instagram Instagram personalities that I picked out. So one of them, his name is Joseph D. I want to say his Instagram name is like Joseph_D Fit or something like that. And he does a lot of those kind of, what do you call those classes where it's like dancing around but punching moves and stuff. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know.
He does a lot of those fitness classes, and he makes sure that he wears pants that show off his ass.
Ooh.
And he makes sure that he does little dances.
I'm going to have to look him up.
Popping his booty and everything. I'll send you his information. So he would be one. And there's another guy on there. I don't know how to say it. It's like Sawyle or Sawyle. Anyway, it's SAWYLE. And he, first of all, he's like cute as fuck, dark skinned. But he just has like a donk. So that would be the other person. I mean, this is terrible to say. Hopefully they never hear this. You know what? If they do, whatever.
But it's okay.
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
I'm
they
not,
might be flattered by it. It's
they
so
might
good.
be. And I'm not in y'all's DMs, so it's okay. And because I'm verse, I picked a last one for a verse session that nothing's off limits, and that's my boo John Boyega. Y'all know I stand for John Boyega. I know he's young, but it's okay. Shout out to Nick Jew from What's the Tea with Nick and Reg, because she shares in my love and appreciation for Thickums Boyega. I just he's so talented and has such great lips, and he is so thick. He has thighs, ass.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so yeah, I would definitely, it would be an old nasty verse session with John Boyega.
Oh my god.
So, next question. If you were given the power to direct a porno and choose the actors, what would the theme be? Who would you choose to star, and who would fill which sexual position?
Okay, everybody, bear with me.
Dun, dun,
This is not
dun.
going to be. This is not politically correct.
Uh-oh.
But my thing would be a drug dealer.
Okay.
And the game would be the drug dealer. Omarion, Taj Mowry, and Corbin Blue would be his
Taj Mowry. Okay.
Yes. Those would be his workers. And they'd all come up short.
Oh,
so
God.
The game, he'd have to power top all three of them.
Wow.
Well, Omarion, he'd flip-flop. He'd flip-flop with Taj Mowry and Corbin Blue, but Omarion's ass, man, it has to be on display, so his ass has to be eating and fucking in my video.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, he does have a nice ass. He has a big dick, too.
I never paid attention to his dick. You know, I told you this. Dicks are cool. I mean, they're cool, but I'm more impressed by the ass. But I consider myself a bottom. It's weird. I'm a weird person.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever floats your boat and finds your lost remote.
I like both, but ass turns me on more.
It's okay. There's a lot of tops out there that like ass, so it's okay. It's fine.
I want to see Omarion turned out, and I think the game would turn him out.
That's interesting.
100%.
So I think he would. I didn't even think about like regular people. I went with porn stars. So my porno would star, and I don't think this combination has ever happened, but if it has, y'all send me the link to the my Vidster or whatever, wherever it is. But my porno would star XL.
Yeah, he's hot.
Sarge,
he's a freak too.
He is. He's a good looking freak. Like he is.
Yeah.
Good looking.
And
anyway, XL, Sarge, and Venom. Venom is kind of old school, but he's like my fave. So my porno with those three, it would be a total verse session. It probably would not have much of a storyline because a lot of them be dumb. Let's just get to it. I would want Sarge to be DP'd at some point. And it would end with Sarge and Venom busting all over XL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're nicer than me.
How?
Because I think XL, he's a freak, man. I just think his hole needs to be destroyed.
Well, I said it's a total verse session, so it's not like he's not going to be bottoming at all.
Well, all of those guys are going to have to destroy his hole.
Well, that's how it would be. I mean, I've actually seen a video with XL and two other guys where all three of them were verse and they all fucked each other.
Wow.
So that's my porno. That's
hot. That's hot.
Yeah. We don't need to get into the deep specifics. You know, whose hole is getting turned all the hell way out, but that would be my porno because I love XL. I
love him too.
I like Sarge, which I don't know if he's still doing porn, and I don't know
I don't know which one is Sarge, but I'll have to look him up too. I
want to say like identifies as straight or whatever, and I know he was doing like bisexual. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but anyway. And Venom. Okay, last question. And we'll get off of the sex. Sorry. Okay. Actually, not sorry. I mean, it is my show. Don't be sorry. We do what we want to do on here.
It is what it is.
Last question. What's a perfect Saturday morning like for you?
A perfect Saturday morning for me is waking up at 9 a.m., being able to sleep until 9 a.m., waking up, having a glass of wine, meeting my friends for brunch at 11, and just playing it by ear from there. That's a perfect Saturday for me. I just like to wake up late, have brunch with my friends, and whatever they decide to get into. As long as there's fried chicken involved, I'm good.
Okay, so your brunch involves fried chicken. Fair
Yes.
enough. Fair enough. My perfect Saturday morning would be me on the couch eating something scrumptious for breakfast that I didn't have to cook, because y'all know I do not like cooking. And I would be watching Food Network or Cooking Channel, whichever one, yelling at Trisha Yearwood and her raggedy ass recipes. I just love fussing. I love fussing at the TV when Trisha. But I'd be like, bitch, what are you doing? I don't even know that much about cooking, and I have questions. What are you doing?
I fuss at Sonny Anderson.
Oh, I fuss at Sonny Anderson because her hair is just never where it needs to be. The color of blonde it's not really flattering, and then she's on the kitchen and she be letting them white folk do crazy stuff to the mac and cheese.
Yeah, but she has to. That's under her contract. She's winging it.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Them wigs are not under contract.
You said what now?
Them wigs are not under contract.
Well, true.
Get it together, Sonny.
Don't fuck with the wings.
No, I said wigs. Those hair pieces.
Oh, yeah. They are doing the sisters wrong with the wigs on a lot of networks.
True.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyway, that's my perfect Sunday morning. Like, just basically just on the couch chilling and not being bothered. Because on the weekend, I really don't like to do too much. I don't like to be bothered. I don't like to use up all my energy doing a lot. I like to take care of the things that I need to take care of, and then veg out. Shit, you be at work working hard all week.
Yeah, all week, man. You got to take some time for yourself to do what you got to do.
Now, that doesn't mean if there's, fun things to do with my friends, brunches, and those types of things that I would not do them. But in perfect world, I could just veg out for a good minute. Maybe in the afternoon do something.
Right.
And then because I'm old, be home in time for my bedtime. And that would be it. So, that, you guys, is going to wrap up this episode of Gayside Stories. I would like to thank you, Harold, a.k.a. Peanut, so much for joining me. I know it's kind of random, but I actually got the idea
having me.
Have you on the show from John, because I know he mentioned that you did a hot seat segment with him.
I did. Oh my God, I'm scared for that to come out because it was a little bit shady. And I was a lot nicer on your show, and I hope nobody hates me from when John posted his show with me. But yeah.
Just be prepared to be blocked if you shading me.
I know. I'm ready for whatever. It is what it is.
So, let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HaroldJ09 and Facebook. Just look up Harold Jacobs, HaroldJacobs. I have numerous accounts on Facebook because I get blocked and, put in Facebook jail. So I have a lot of backup accounts. So just, with Facebook, just look me up by my whole name. And on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Harold J. 09.
Listen to y'all. My last two guests have given y'all their actual Facebook information. Shout out to y'all. Don't look for me on Facebook. Shit. Fuck that. There's a page for Gayside Stories. That is where you can find me on Facebook. Facebook.com/GaysideStories. There is a discussion group, #GaysidePod. You can find me there as well. You can find me on Twitter @GaysideStories, or if you want my personal, @Trillificent. Same on Instagram, @GaysideStories on there, or @Trillificent. Make sure you guys are subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Rate the podcast. Open up your Apple Podcast app, leave 5-star rating, leave a review if you have a little bit of extra time and you feel like doing a little bit of typing. Make sure you're sharing the show with others. I appreciate everyone that shares the show on their Twitter, retweets the links, read whatever you call it on Facebook. I appreciate all of that. And as I said earlier, make sure you guys check out the latest episode of the Ratchet Ramblings podcast, where I make my triumphant return, talking shit about reality TV. And to wrap everything up, GaysideStories.com. You could go there for all of this information and more. Again, thank you guys for listening. You literally could listen to any podcast. There are millions of different podcasts to listen to. So I appreciate every single person that gives this one a listen. Y'all are the real MVPs. Whether you interact or not, just the fact that you press and listen, it means the world to me. I really did not think that I would get this far in podcasting. So to have people, you know, consistently listening every week and seeing the numbers, I'm just like, wow. That's all I can say. So thank you guys for listening. And as always, remember the lost commandment, thou shalt protect thy walls.
Please protect your walls.
They will crumble. Okay?
Yes.
And for my bottoms out there, or my verse that bottom on occasion, remember that too much fleeting will lead to what? Irritation. All right. We're out of here, you guys. Happy Easter if you celebrate it. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.